funny thing is, I don't know if you guys saw this, but last night I found a loophole, a legal loophole, because I didn't do anything that Twitter didn't provide me with. I found a loophole where there was a Twitter space last night that was run by Katie Nadopoulos of BuzzFeed.
We have that.
Yeah, there's
video.
a bunch of journalists in there, and I'm in read-only mode. That's what happens when you get suspended. You can see the tweets from the people you follow. You just can't see any of your mentions. You can't tweet. You can't see your DMs. So I was able to see this Twitter space was live because I guess people that I follow were in it. So I was like, okay, let's test this out. Let's see. So I clicked it, and all of a sudden I could hear it. I was like, that's weird. And then I see my little avatar show up in like the little room that they show the avatars of all the people who are listening. I'm like, that's crazy. And then lo and behold, there was the little button that says request mic. And I was like, no way. So I pressed request mic, and I'm like, hello, can you hear me? And everyone was like, oh my God, what? And the loophole was that if you were banned on Twitter, for some reason, you weren't blocked from entering and talking in a Twitter space. And so I was in there, and ban evasion is against the rules, but I wasn't ban evading. I have not set up any account. I haven't even tweeted from the account of my shows like Scam Economy or Doomed. I'm doing this by the books. I simply went into that Twitter space because that was a feature, just like I can see my feed. Twitter Space was a feature that Twitter provided to my suspended account, so I was just using it. Eventually, and interestingly enough, right before Elon Musk himself entered that Twitter Space, I was also blocked from Twitter Spaces. But shortly after, by the way, Twitter completely took down Twitter Spaces. So I guess, I don't know, I'm sorry, or you're welcome.
It's because they have no engineers.
Twitter Spaces is a mess. I have to say, like the night that everyone was joining Mastodon, Elon was on a Twitter Space with like some crypto loser. And I joined that just to hear what he was talking about. And then I couldn't leave the space. Like I would click the leave button and it would just like minimize to the bottom of my thing. And I had to uninstall and reinstall Twitter. That's happened. I've joined 4 spaces. That's happened twice.
Yeah.
And I was able to get out of the one that Binder was on without having to uninstall and reinstall the app.
So we have him Elon Musk popping into the Twitter space with very own Matt Binder.
Well, Binder, you're out of the space at this point.
By this point, I'm you might still see my avatar because it just shut down on me when I tried to re-enter. An old Periscope.tv link would show up. Remember Periscope, their video platform?
Yeah.
And it would say, you're banned from this Twitter space. So Twitter spaces must be built into Periscope.
Yeah.
And that's probably why the ban on just the Twitter account didn't automatically ban you on Twitter spaces, because I guess they had to then go in and ban my old Periscope account as well.
Because it's still Periscope on the back end.
All right, here we go.
In the last few hours with a handful of journalists being banned.
Well, as I'm sure everyone who's been doxxed would agree, showing real-time information about somebody's location is inappropriate, and I think everyone on this call would not like that to be done to them. And there's not going to be any distinction in the future between journalists, so-called journalists, and regular people. Everyone's going to be treated the same. You're not special because you're a journalist. You're a Twitter. You're a citizen. So
you're Twitter.
No special treatment.
Pause for a second.
You get suspended.
You could hear him typing in the background, and I'm almost positive he was making that first poll while he was typing.
Yeah.
And that's probably why he wasn't happy with it, because he wasn't, giving it his whole attention to be able to realize that he didn't want to give so many options. But he was totally typing and posting that poll in the background while he was talking in that Twitter space.
Be done to them, and there's not going to be any distinction in the future between journalists, so-called journalists, and regular people. Everyone's going to be treated the same. You're not special because you're a journalist. You're a Twitter. You're a citizen. So no special treatment. You dox, you get suspended.
A genius story at work here.
So and ban evasion, or trying to be clever about it, like, I posted a link to the real-time information, is obviously that is obviously simply trying to evade the meaning. There's no different than actually showing real-time information.
So when you're saying posting a link to it, I mean, some of the people like Drew and Ryan Mack from the New York Times who were banned were they were reporting on it in the course of sort of pretty normal journalistic endeavors. You consider that like a tricky attempt at ban evasion?
You show the link to the real-time information, ban evasion, obviously.
Drew, I don't think you were posting the real-time information, right?
I mean, you're suggesting that we're sharing your address, which is not true, and you're suggesting that we're posting. We never. I never posted your address.
You posted a link to the address.
We posted a link. In the course of reporting about Elon Jet, we posted links to Elon Jet, which are now not online and now banned on Twitter. And Twitter also, of course, marks even the Instagram and Mastodon accounts of Elon Jet as harmful. Using, we have to acknowledge, using the same exact link blocking technique that you have criticized as part of the Hunter Biden New York Post story in 2020. So what is different here and there?
No more acceptable for me. It's no more acceptable for me, for you, than it is for me. Same thing. So anyway.
So it's unacceptable what you're doing?
No. What you dox, you get suspended. End of story. That's it.
Elon, I have to ask.
Is he like mentally incapable of understanding information?
At that point, after he says that, he left the space. So Katie Notopoulos didn't even get
Oh my
answer.
God!
He says you docs, you get suspended. That's it. Then he left the space because he got questioned.
And what Binder did was even less, like even another order removed from what he's talking about here, which is you posted the LAPD report on it. Did you even link to Elon Jet?
I mean, no, I did not. That's the last thing I posted. Again, I don't know. I mean, now hearing what Drew said, I did point out that the New York Post thing was the same thing he was doing to the other links. I did not post the link, a hyperlink on Twitter, though.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, though. This is exactly what the Twitter files were supposed to expose. The suppression of free speech, of the Hunter Biden nudes that were like 5 separate links requested by the Biden administration. What's worse? The removal of revenge porn because a campaign asks for it, or when the CEO of a company makes a unilateral decision to ban journalists from their platform because they decide to report on him. What's worse?
Yeah, I mean... Who knows? Like, again, if
where's Taibbi been on this, by the way? I haven't heard much.
I don't think he said anything, has he?
I mean, I think it's real. The most damning thing, I feel like, beyond just like the general aspect of the banning of these reporters and you, Bender, is the link blocking from other accounts literally being what all of the hullabaloo about the New York Post story from 2020 is about. And if anything is going to lay bare that this is not in any way, shape, or form besides anything about Elon's own reactionary right-wing politics, it's this. He doesn't actually care about the policy or the terms of service or anything like that. This is all in service to him. It's like, even it's now seeped into, I mean, I don't think it's not seeped in before, but like, this is just lib owning for Elon Musk as it was for Donald Trump. It's just, none of it actually matters. It's just, him putting himself in place of, he's now the most important guy, and that's the point. That's it.
That's it.
The old Twitter, when they blocked that New York Post link to the Hunter Biden article, something which I said at the very beginning, the second they did it, that it was wrong, they shouldn't have done that. But even then, they just blocked that specific link. You were still able to read and share other New York Post articles. Elon Musk is now blocking every single link to any Mastodon-related page. It's an entire social network where you can't post a link to your own account. You can't post a link to a specific post on your own account. He's just outright blocking an entire competitor.
Yeah, that's doxing, though. I mean, come on. If you have competition in the marketplace, that's doxing. So that's what I've heard.